Are you farming neighborhoods the old-fashioned way? Yeah, get a list from your title company, buying a bunch of standard postcards, printing and sticking labels, and mailing to all the houses in a neighborhood? If you are, I'm here to tell you there's something better. Hi, I'm Stan Shields, your Lumpy Mail Guy. You can find more about me at lumpymailguy.com. I'm going to share with you an automated system that will farm this neighborhood for you and deliver highly targeted, qualified leads right to you. Now, there are some different farming methods and challenges that are out there. Some people are sending postcards, mailers, flyers, comps of the neighborhood, all kinds of things. Some send it out monthly, some send it quarterly, some send it whenever. And most people aren't necessarily keeping up with it as well as they would like to. Usually it's pretty tough to maintain it long term, and it's not that much fun. It's also tough to come up with new ideas of what to send, and really mailing a whole neighborhood can get expensive. And then having a farm for both sellers and buyers is pretty expensive and confusing. Well, this system I'm going to share with you solves all of those problems. We have farming automations for sellers, buyers, FSBOs, expired listings, and some other areas. Today's video is really only going to look at a seller's farm automation. Subsequent videos will cover buyers, FSBOs, expireds, and some of those other areas I alluded to. Now you might say, well, why a different automation of seller versus some of these others and all of that? Well, why not just target everybody? Well, buyers and sellers are different. We're going to be using different criteria to really get to the best qualified of either category. So since we need really different search criteria and we really need different messaging, those have to be different automations. Now, it could turn out that a seller could be both a seller and a buyer, in which case you get to double dip. That's kind of the sweet spot, right? You want to all be able to do that. Help them sell their house and help them buy another house. FSBOs and expireds, just completely different animals, and they deserve their own automation. So let's talk about the steps for creating an automated farm. Step number one, you have to introduce yourself as the agent of choice for that neighborhood, or at least for that farm. Now let's take a look at what's included in an automation like that. This is our introduction to your neighborhood. There's also one that's just like this that's called an introduction to your farm area. They're pretty much the same, they're just a little bit different. This is a 3-card drip automation. Just like an email drip campaign, this is a postcard drip campaign. And it mails every 7 days, or you can adjust that. It could be 14 days or 21 days, but what we found is 7 days works much, much better. The very first postcard is simply going to introduce you to the neighborhood. And then it's going to call the prospects out by name. If you notice here, there is this little code here says first name. That's going to actually put the prospect's name right on this postcard. The image that's here on this card, that's going to be swapped out for an image from their neighborhood so that they recognize it and it builds some familiarity. The other thing that we want to do is you're going to want to put a QR code over here on this card, because we want a call to action that's going to take them someplace so that they can learn more about you. I prefer to do video. I would like to see you put a video right there that introduces you as the realtor in that neighborhood. And then your contact info and everything else will be right here on this card. 7 days later, they're then going to get another card. It's going to say, hey, it's me again. So they get to learn a little bit more about you. The third card in this automation is going to say, let's get coffee or tea. So you're inviting them to connect with you and to meet with you and to ask you questions. Now, there's all kinds of things that you could do with this. You could have a group meeting or a community meeting in a coffee shop or something else. There's all kinds of things you could do with this opportunity of Let's Get a Coffee. This is our real estate seller GEO Farm Domination. These are designed to send one every month. So after we sent the first 3 cards introducing you to the neighborhood, then we send this first shipment, which is going to then be more about real estate, and it's about real estate in their area. It's going to have some photos that come from their area so that they recognize it. And then the text might be different text than what's here, just something that specifically speaks to real estate in their area. 30 days later, they get another mailing from you that will be a different postcard. And again, it will be something that's relevant to their area. 30 days later, there's the third mailing that will then go out. And then again, 30 days later, we have the fourth mailing that's going to go. And then another 30 days, there's the fifth mailing that's going to go out. Then what we do is we go back to that first card, all of these cards actually, and then just swap out pictures, maybe swap out a little bit of text, but these become the next 5 months of mailings as well. So that now what you end up having is basically about a year of automations that are now going out to them on a regular basis consistently, so that they're hearing from you every single month. Now, once we've got the cards all designed and ready to go, then we're going to actually run the list. Now, we ran a list before we started this process to figure out where do we want to send the mailing, to know exactly who it is that we want to target, make sure that it's correct and all of that. But we did not actually download the list to start using it. So we're not going to actually download the list until everything else is set and ready to go, so that once we download the list, we can mail immediately. This list that we download, guaranteed to be 95% accurate if you use it within the first 30 days. So we want to wait until we're 100% ready before we actually download this list and start to use it. So let's talk about the criteria that we want to use to build our list in the first place. Well, we're going to start with an address, or we're going to start with a zip code, and then we're going to create a radius. It could be 2 miles, 3 miles, 1 mile, it could be whatever. It could be 20 miles for that matter. It just depends on your area. And then we're going to look for single family homes, and we're looking for home owners. We don't want to send something to renters who may be renting a single family home. We want homeowners, and we want homeowners who have been in their home for at least 7 years. We're also looking for homeowners who have a great income, and that could be different depending on what area you're in. I start with $100,000 a year, and I will adjust that number up or down based on the area that I'm in and how big my list might be. The next thing I'm going to look for is net worth. I want the homeowner to actually have a little bit of net worth. Again, I start with 100,000. Depending on the area I'm in, I might adjust that number up or down. I'm also looking for a good home value. I usually start at 500,000, but that number can be adjusted up or down. All of these numbers can be adjusted up or down, and that helps you to figure out your list size. And we're going to talk about that in just a second here. I'm also looking for homes that have a minimum of $75,000 in equity. And there is a way for us to figure that out inside this system. Last but not least, I want a credit score of 650 or better. Now, using all of this criteria helps me get a very highly targeted list, a very well-defined list. So I might have started with 3,000 people in a neighborhood, or 5,000 people in a neighborhood, but every time I add one of those pieces of criteria, I'm shrinking the list to get to the absolute best qualified prospects that I can find. Now, you see, the goal is to get to a list of about 100 to 300 homes that I'm sending to, So rather than sending to the masses, to everybody in that area, I only want to send to the best qualified people. We have some realtors using this system who are farming 10 areas at one time. And then they teach their team to farm areas. So between them and their team, they're farming all these areas, and these guys are just raking in the money financially. They're just doing fantastic. Now, again, we have similar automations for buyers, FSBOs, expireds, and then some other areas. Keep an eye out for my next video, which is going to be a buyer automation. And then we're going to be farming for the best potential buyers. Now, how can you easily do something like this with very little effort? Use Mailbox Power's tools and software. Follow the link below to get more information on Mailbox Power, get all the details, and how to get started. You can get started for as little as $79 a month. Use my link below and you'll get some additional freebies. I'm going to help you get your first few farms set up so that they are working properly, and we have some other goodies for you. I'm going to show you how to make this system pay for itself, to pay for your marketing. If you have other questions still, use my calendar link down below. We'll do a personal demo for you. I will answer questions for you. We'll talk about your business. We'll figure out whether or not this system makes sense for you. But that's it for this video. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll see you next time.